Reacts. I'm here once again, live with y'all, and we're going to continue on with the reading of Hercolubus or Red Planet by V.M. Rambula. So, without further ado, let me get this camera set up. Bear with me, because it's going to be a little bit of a task, and I'll continue on the next chapter. And the next chapter, where we stopped at yesterday, where we got interrupted by my wife coming home, was on the chapter of, let's see if y'all can see this, let's check it out, the extraterrestrials. That's the chapter we're starting back on, just so you all know. So once again, here's the book right here. Hercolubus, or can you see it? Ain't looking at me. Oh, it's just facing the wrong way. Let's turn this around. There we go. Hercolubus or Red Planet. And then, are we live right now? Yes, we are. We're starting on chapters extraterrestrials. That's where we'll be starting back on. So bear with me while I get this camera set up. And let's go. Let's get this going here. Let me get this camera set up for you all here, though. My little wall background in the picture here, so y'all can see my little fancy wall I got going. Okay, well, hopefully that light is going to be bright enough, I'm hoping. And I think it might be okay here. Let me get this camera situated here. It might be okay, let me see. I hope so. So, I hope we're good. I hope we are good, folks, because not sure if you can see me good at all. Hopefully the camera's set up right and you guys can hear me well and you can see me well. And I can continue on reading here with this book we got. Hercolubus or Red Planet by V.M. Rambula. So, let me get a drink, clean my pipes a little bit. Because I'm going to be reading here a little bit, and we are on the air, just so you know. But, got dry, raspy throat muscles right now, and need to lube them up a little bit so I can read to y'all. Because this is JayBurghReacts, and this is storytelling with JayBurghReacts. That's right. Come join the party. If you're here live with me, God bless you, and bear with me. If you're not and you're watching a replay, thank you for being here, and bear with me too. So let's get going here. Y'all ready for this? Let's do it. Let me see here. Let me fix my chair a little bit here too. Sorry, just getting situated here. I think this is maybe one of the first times I did go live in the studio. So let me lower that chair a little bit. Chair so I can rock it if I want to. And let me get reading again for y'all. So here we go. The extraterrestrials. Then this is all the testimony and last words of this guy, V.M. Rambula. He wrote this book, this testimony. This is his words. I'm going to be reading it as if he's reading it. So, let's go. The extraterrestrials. I have seen magazines and movies put out by the gringo gentleman. This guy's a Spanish guy or South American. So he's going to be calling white guys or Americans, whatever, gringos. That's what they're called. That's what we're called, gringos. But anyway, he says, I have seen magazines and movies put out by the gringo gentleman, wanting people to believe the non-existence of extraterrestrials. But they are wrong. I might have think I've read this, but I'm just going to start here anyway because I think I read like a page or two yesterday and we got interrupted. I'm not sure where I got interrupted, so if you heard all this already, just bear with me because I got to get through a page or two to get back to where we were. I can't remember exactly where, so I'm just going to read it all over again if I did, because I do remember reading some of this. But anyway, the non-existence of extraterrestrials, but gringo gentlemen want people to believe there's no existence of extraterrestrials, but they are wrong. They cannot block my sight. They cannot fool me, and there is even a lesser chance of them making me believe their silly theories and mean imaginations, as they are doing with humanity. Just as they are doing with Hercolubus as it rapidly approaches Earth, putting it down, even daring to give the weight and measurements of it, they are doing the same with the extraterrestrials. They want people to believe that extraterrestrials are like gorillas or animals. It is a great lie. It is 100% false, because the inhabitants of the other planets of our solar system and galaxy are super beings and wise. And he's pretty much saying the powers that be that run this planet don't want us to know anything about them. It's pretty much what he's telling us. I have dealt with extraterrestrials many times. I have been to Venus and Mars, conscient in his conscience, he says, moving in his astral body. I can faithfully testify to what marvels their inhabitants are. I lack the words to describe their wisdom, culture, and their angelic way of life. So he's pretty much saying they're light beings, and they're pretty much more smarter, more brighter, more better, and better people, loving people than we ever will be. They're just that far ahead of us. It's pretty much that's what I'm getting. He's saying. I don't know if you guys think I'm reading that wrong, then let me know in the comments, please, or in the chat, or whatever's going on right now. But here's how he says life on planet Venus is. I am going to describe the soil. I remember reading this part. The soil. He said he's going to describe the soil, nature, their way of life, and how they work. The soil on Venus is not compact or heavy like that of our Earth, but it is rather light, soft soil. The stones differ from ours as well. They lack the density of our minerals. On Venus, one can lift a stone that would weigh tons on Earth, because the rocks are light and made of soft material. The trees are not giants, and the vegetation has no thorns, no bindweeds blocked the way in the mountains. One can go to those mountains without needing to carry a machete or knife, because there is nothing to cut. There are no dangers anywhere on Venus. With regards to the ocean, it is completely blue, like a big, very, very quiet, large lagoon that is utterly still. The ocean has no tides. Without waves, one can see into its depths without needing any artificial device. The fish are extremely tame and unafraid of people. There are sectors in the oceans where the inhabitants nourish the fish with many vitamins. When they need to consume one, the Venusians see which one of the group is the largest, or which one they wish to use, and they separate that one and net it carefully without frightening the other fish around them. Then they take them out and gut them. The fish are transported to the revolving tank of very clean waters by means of pulleys, and they go through a unique cleaning process. This is done without touching them with the hands. The fish then are pulverized, and natural vitamins are added. Fish are one of the food Venetians eat. Venetians do not eat any other kind of meat, according to him. I got lost there for a second. Sorry, folks. But all right, we're back into it. The fruit trees are grown on the flat roofs of the houses in plant pots with soil that has been well fertilized so that they bear fruit. Venetians wait for the fruit to be well seasoned, ripened before plucking them. They pick them with a device without touching the fruit with their hands. Then the fruits go through the pipelines to some very clean revolving water tanks, where they undergo special cleaning. After being washed, they go through another tube to some machines, where they are pulverized. From there, they pass them on to another container. Where more natural vitamins, but no chemicals, are added. Afterwards, the product is packed hermetically for later consumption. So they're probably canning them, like canning pickled pickles or whatever, anything like that. They're jarring them up and saving them for later consumption. Hence, they do eat vegetables as well. So yeah, they grow all their own food. They only eat fish. These are the people that live on Venus. He's calling them the Venetians. Anyway, yeah, they live well. You know what I mean? Nothing, no dangers whatsoever on their planet. It's just a carefree, everyone's all living in harmony kind of life. Venus. Maybe that's why they call it like I thought they called it like the love planet or something like that. Maybe. I don't know if they do or not. I always thought Venus was associated with something like that though, you know? But let's continue on here. The Venetians are astonishingly intelligent and have perfect bodies, wide or broad foreheads, blue eyes, straight nose, and blonde hair. They all measure about 1.30 to 1.40 meters in height. So meters are usually like 3 feet, around 3 feet. So they're probably all around 6 foot in height, give or take, 5 or 6 feet in height. They all are the same height, though, he's saying. They're all the same height. Everyone's the same. All of them have angelic figures. No deformities or obesity is known among them. Well, I wonder why, because they only eat fish, and they only eat fruits and vegetables, and they grow it all, blah, 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 whatever. There's, like I said, all of them have angelic figures. No deformity or obesity is known among them. There is perfection in the men and women because the planet and its humanity are ascending superior. You do not see monstrous people there as you do here. They wear wide belts covered with red, blue, and yellow buttons, which blink on and off like a beacon. When they find themselves in danger, Venetians press a master button resembling our own belt buckles. Just by pressing it, a circle of fire is formed around them, capable of disintegrating any bullet or anything else that comes against it. So they got their own little personal force fields that they can press a button on their belt, and the force field, boom, goes up right around them real fast and blocks anything. Bullets, anything. Swords. Just by pressing it, it says. So he says, while visiting Venus, I came across a handheld, pocket-sized weapon, like a pack of cigarettes. Just by pressing a button on this device, it can blow up a hill, no matter how large it might be, and make it disappear. What would an Earthling do with a weapon like that? I wonder what. Blow us all to smithereens, I'm sure. Like people out there want to do already. You know what I mean? Ain't nothing different. That's crazy, though. When one thinks of asking them a question, they answer the question without you needing to utter a word, in whatever language it may be, because they speak all languages perfectly. They have the gift of tongues and the gift of answering your question before you even say it, so they're reading your minds too. When one is talking with a Venetian, others carry on with their work and run their errands without stopping. They are not like us. We crowd around and look and criticize a person who has a physical defect. I have seen myself on Venus, compared to my body with theirs, and was ashamed, because I looked like a gorilla compared to them. Venetians, however, pay no attention to this. Everyone passes unnoticed without any expressions of surprise. It is a never-seen culture. The perfect culture. The perfect place. Venetians have what we would describe as restaurants where they go and sit at a table. Since all the inhabitants read minds, there is no need to ask for the food they want, right? The dish arrives without you having to utter a word. They do not use the courtesies and the like we use on Earth. I don't know what he means by that. But on Venus, you eat, you get up from the table, and you do not have to ask how much is owed or give thanks. All of them indicate their appreciation with the movement of the head. Huh. So it's free? Restaurants are free too? Wow. I want to go to Venus. The clothing stores are exactly the same. When Venetians want to change their clothes, they go to a clothing store and are immediately given clean clothes and shoes. They press a button on a wall and a darkened room is formed where they change. If they wish to bathe, they press another button in a room and a jet of water comes out. The removed clothing is handed in immediately in order for them to go through a special cleaning process All Venetians wear the same clothing and footwear. So it's a bunch of people that are all perfect. They all look the same, and they're all wearing the same shit. How do you tell them apart? But anyway, no one owns a house on Venus. When a Venetian couple wants to sleep or rest, they press a button on a house or building, and a darkened room is formed. They press another button, and out comes a bed. Without any need to say, "This is mine," they ask for no permission. They ask no one for permission. Perfect place. Let's go. Venus. Let's go. The streets of Venus are not like ours. Avenues move like an electrical escalator. There are no accidents of any kind because everything is in order. The vehicles are very pretty, very decorated platforms. The platforms depart and arrive at their destination. Then people do not get down from the platform up high, but the whole platform descends with the people, and another platform then comes up that is already loaded with other people, ready to continue their trip. So yeah, you press a button, you get a ride somewhere. You don't need to have a car because you have stuff everywhere is there at the press of a button, pretty much. Anything you want at the press of a button on Venus. Anyway, let's keep going. The streets are moved by solar energy, as is all of the other machinery. No one uses oil or gasoline or anything that pollutes over there. Thus, there is no pollution at all on Venus. Wow, this place is awesome. In order to build houses or buildings, Venetians do not climb up high, many meters above the ground, to work like here on Earth. They all work from the ground up. The roof on the building is the first thing that they make. They use rollers to raise this structure, and they continue constructing the next floor. When it is finished, they raise it again with the rollers, and so on, depending on the number of floors that they want to make, without any danger of accidents. So they're building it on the ground, and they're pushing it up. Building another one on the ground, pushing it up. So the first floor they build, and if it's going to be a multi-floor thing, the first floor they build is ultimately going to be the top floor after all said and done, because they build everything from the ground. Once it's built, they put it on rollers and push it up. Once it's built, they put it on rollers and push it up. Keep going up, all the way up. 100-story building. The first one you build is going to eventually be the 100th floor. That's pretty cool. I like that. It is pretty non-dangerous, I guess. So, let's continue here where we left off. I'm trying to figure it out. Oh, wait, here we go. Venetians of both sexes work 2 hours a day, each in their profession. On Venus, there is no money, and no one is the owner of anything. Everyone has the right to everything. They work for everyone else. There is no Mr. So and so and so. There is no Mr. So and so or Lord such and such. Oh, okay, I got it. There is no Mr. So and so or Lord such and such because there is equality. The law is to work 2 hours a day to avoid hunger and poverty. So poverty. Everybody on Venus has to work 2 hours a day. No matter what it is you're doing something for 2 hours a day, and that's it. That's it. The rest of the day you're off. So I wonder if that's every day. I guess it is every day. You work 2 hours a day, so you don't need a vacation when you're living in a place like that. So I was going to say, what about vacations? Blah, blah, blah. Well, you don't need it. When you're living in a place that's just perfect, everything's that good, everything's at the press of the button, literally everything. Nobody owns nothing. Everything's everybody's. You don't need a vacation. You're on vacation every freaking day of your life. That's my look at it. But, okay, let's keep going here. With the inner powers and spiritual faculties that they possess, they put nature to work for them. They make it rain when they want. They make the sun come out when they want. And they dim it when they want. Venetians, unlike us, are not under nature's command. Let me get another drink here, folks. Bear with me for a minute. It's pretty interesting how he says how Venus is, though, you know? Like, everything he said so far sounds like the perfect life for every aspect and all, you know what I mean? There's no ailments, there's no hunger, there's nothing. Everything's perfect. Push the button, you need something, it's there for you. Turn this, you want the sun? Boom, hit a button, the sun comes out. You want no sun? Boom, hit a button, rain comes for you. You could have the perfect life and live how you want. Maybe that's like the top place that we all go to when we're done. Maybe Earth is the one right before the last one. And then after you get to the last one, who knows where you go from there. Maybe you live in Venus for the rest of your life then. I don't know. Maybe when we all pass away, we ascend to our higher power or something, and he decides where we go from here. You know what I mean? If we ascend to the highest place of all, Venus, or if we go try again on Earth. It's basically what people say, you know? When you pass away and you ascend to a new next realm, or your glory above, or the highest one, or your God, or whatever you believe happens to you when you pass away, that higher place you go to. Well, maybe Venus is that higher place because it's the perfect lifestyle about everything. Anyway, let's continue on. Let it be known that on Venus there are no families as there are on our planet. There are only couples. Venetians, I keep saying that name different every time, I'm sure, but Venetians do not have churches or priests to marry them. Venetian couples unite for life with their twin soul or their better half, as is said here, which is the complement of each human being. There are no religions of any kind. The only religion they practice is the mutual respect for life and others. Fornication does not exist as it does on Earth. Since earthlings are worse than beasts in that sense. Okay, so I'm sorry, I'm messing up my reading here. Please bear with me, but okay, here's what he says. Fornication does not exist as it does on Earth, since earthlings are worse than beasts in that sense. That's how he meant to say it. Venetians practice what Gnosis teaches, scientific chastity, or the transmutation of sexual energies. This is how they prolong their lives, as long as they do, and as long as they want to, because the sexual energy is one's very own life. Yet in our planet, we see the aging effects of fornication on people at an early age. Upon shaking hands with them, you feel an electric shock that shakes you, as if you were receiving energy, because they are all chaste. Chastity gives them that energy. They are not fornicators like people here. Scientific chastity gives them that energy. The Venetian couple unites sexually to procreate a child without the act of fornication. The release of a spermatozoon is sufficient to provide a soul if it wants to come to prepare itself with a physical body. There is no sexual degeneration as there is on Earth, where the priest lords are marrying homosexuals. Homosexuality, I better not read this part, among the Venetians. Homosexuality does not exist among the Venetians. Okay, that's not bad. I could have said that. I shouldn't get struck down for that one. But anyway, let me take a break here for a second, folks. This is JayBurghReacts, and we are reading the Hercolubus Or Red Planet book by V.M. Rabolú. So give me a second here. I'll be right back for you. Just check out the cover of that book there for a little bit. I gotta get a little nicotine in me, I'm sorry to say. You guys probably seen the vape in my hand the whole time I was reading. So I'm gonna vape off camera here for a second. Get a couple hits in here. Then continue on where we left off. Okay, folks, we're back. Let's continue on with this last little part of this about the Venetians. So, when a child is born, on Venus, he is transferred to a clinic with all the necessary care, where he receives special nourishment until he reaches the age to study. When he is old enough to begin his formation, he goes to a college, which is an immense workshop where he will learn what is necessary in a practical way. The masters of that college teach him how to handle the machinery and allow him to develop the ideas he has in order to study which vocation his soul brought with it. When the child has an idea to make something, the professors or masters help him to develop the concept until he succeeds in making the device that he wants. They go on in that way successfully with all of humanity in Venus. Therefore, on Venus, there are no ignorance. All are prepared for material and spiritual ascent. So they're all prepared when it's time for that on Venus, the perfect planet, like we've been saying. So that's the end of that chapter. It's a little bit about how the Venetians, the Venus people, are. Let's go on to the next one. There, he wants to talk about planet Mars. So, VM Rabula is going to tell you what Mars is like right here. Life on Mars. Guys, see that? Pause it so you can see it for a second. Alright. That's long enough. Life on Mars. Life on planet Mars. Life on Mars is exactly the same as life on Venus. There is freedom in everything. Martians can move themselves to any place of the planet without any need of paperwork or passports. Wherever they go, there is a place to sleep, food to eat, and clothing to change into. Wow, at the push of a button. They find anything that they need anywhere on Mars because there are no frontiers but complete freedom as it is on other planets of our solar system. The Martians have a heavier body than the Venetian, apparently sturdier because they belong to the ray of strength. Wonder what that is. The ray of strength. If that's I don't know. Anyway, on Mars, everyone wears a soldier's uniform, a shield, a helmet, and a suit of armor. All of those vestments of war are made from a material similar to bronze. They have distinguished themselves because they are 100% warriors, but not warriors as we would understand here. There are no wars between themselves or with other planets. Their war is to combat against the forces of evil. Let it be known that on those planets nobody works using brute force as we do on our planet. Nobody sweats, and they do not get tired because the machines, which are all powered by solar energy, do the work. What the people do is guide or drive these machines. They go relieving each other from work. Yeah, your shift's up. Yeah, your shift's up. Yeah, your shift's up. Everything moves by means of the wisdom they have. The extraterrestrials are so powerful that they choose to grow, die, or be born again at will. Wow. When they get tired of having a physical body for many years and they want to change it for a new one, they die. When the body dies, they place the body inside a cavity within the walls, exactly the same size as the body. Afterwards, they close a little door and press a button, and in a matter of minutes, the body is reduced to ashes. If the body is not totally dead, then the button does not function, and the body is removed to finish the dying process. There are no cemeteries on Mars. The ashes are scattered by a tree or buried. Nobody cries because a person died. Death for them is like a change of clothes, nothing more. On those worlds, there is no involvement in the no evolution in the plants, animals, humanity, or planets. Everything is ascending. Here, on the other hand, we descend with the whole planet. The facts are demonstrating it. Those planets do not have plagues such as flies, gnats, or mosquitoes which damage health, nor is there a threat of reptiles and other dangerous beasts. The law on Mars and on other planets is of mutual respect for themselves, for others, for life, and for everything. They respect each person's free will. They are not like the Earthlings, who want to take over the world by dint of bullets and threats. The Gringo Lords are very mistaken with their movies and magazines about extraterrestrial life. I have described the life in other planets briefly, to make the Americans see that they know nothing of what they portray, because they deny that there is life elsewhere. I do not use telescopes or artificial means to obtain my knowledge of the universe. I know how to manage my internal bodies with full and conscionable will. Kenosis gave me the keys. I put into practice what Kenosis taught me, and the result is this: to know, because he who knows is the one who has knowledge. He who does not have knowledge is the one who speaks about what he does not know. Practical kenosis cannot be compared with anything. It surpasses all barriers and the walls that stand on the way to our liberation. Liberation. That's the end of that little section about Mars. We're getting towards the end here, folks. Not too much longer to go. The next section is the interplanetary star spaceships. Interplanetary spaceships. Let's keep going to get our drink here real quick. I hope you all are enjoying my reading to you. I'm having a good time. I hope you are. So, let's continue. The interplanetary spaceships. I move now to the interplanetary spaceships, which scientists either ignore or question, making humanity doubt the existence of such spaceships. All the interplanetary spaceships are moved by solar energy. They are made of a bulletproof material that does not exist on Earth. Nothing can penetrate them. Spaceships are made of one piece. They do not have any welds, attachments, or rivets. They are controlled by the means of buttons. Just like everything else on them planets, huh? You push a button. The spaceships have two horizontal tubes made of another material that does not exist on our planet. So that's two different materials that we have no idea what they are, supposedly. The material is light, very similar to aluminum, but brighter and stronger. These tubes go through the spaceship from the front to back. The solar energy enters at the front of the ship. The burnt energy is expelled through the back. These are the tails of fire, and the interplanetary spaceships leave wherever they go. Not all spaceships are round. A cigar-shaped, long model exists, capable of transporting hundreds of people. Therefore, not all spaceships are the same model or the same size. These are the vehicles of transportation in other planets. The crews on these spaceships communicate with each other telepathically, without any need for telephones or television and like that. They all have their spiritual faculties as well. And they are all spiritually awakened. What are those poor earthlings who bray so heartily and loudly like the gringo gentlemen and the other so-called powerful countries doing? They believe they are the only ones who know, but they are truly ignorant of the marvels that exist in other planets. Bear with me, please. Anyway, the extraterrestrials in the planetary spaceships are ready now to take off and rescue all those people who are working with the formula that is given in this book. Extraterrestrials know everything. There is no need to call them because they already know us inside and out. When the moment arrives, the rescue will be done in their spaceships. Few persons will achieve it to be rescued. be counted on the fingers of the hands because nobody wants to work. People take everything to the mind, and from the mind comes theories. It is the same ego which brings them out. And what we need are facts. We need to begin the spiritual work once and for all. My goal in writing this narrative is to let the whole world know the truth at long last. We are not the only inhabitants of our solar system and our galaxy. We are the most inferior ones. The countries that believe themselves to be great powers and think they know all demonstrate just the opposite by their actions. The quality of our humanity is revealed by the atrocities that they are committing against themselves and against others. Do not tell me the tales they fabricate, because I do know the truth. That is why I have written this book, so that humanity can see that the Greek lords and the scientific lords have humanity wrapped up in vile lies and threats. Truth is all that I am saying, and it is what I defend at all times. If I have to die to have told the truth, then I will die. So this guy, everything he's saying in here is God's honest truth, and he will die saying that same truth. He's not lying whatsoever. Via Rabolú. This is his written testimony. That gets us to the next chapter, which I don't know if it's the last one, but it could be. There's one more after this. Wait. Last chapter. The death. That's what the name of it is. The death. Let's read it. Okay, this chapter is esoterically entitled The Death, because he who begins to disintegrate his psychological defects begins to leave the circle in which all of humanity is stuck. When a person is working in disintegration of his physical, psychological defects and is invited to do some mischief, people comment, he is useless, he is dead. This person behaves differently because he does not follow the ways of the rest of humanity. Every human being bears within a divine spark that is called a soul, a Buddha, Heta, or essence, whatever else it's called, your soul, whatever's inside you, your spirit. Well, it has different names, but in reality, it is a divine spark. That's what he's saying it's really called, a divine spark. Every human being bears within him or her, a divine spark, which it impels us and gives us strength to embark in the spiritual work like the one I am teaching you here. That essence or soul is trapped within all of our evilness, defects or psychological cells, which esoterically is called ego. Those cells are the ones that do not allow the essence to manifest itself freely, because they are the ones that cry out noisily and take control of the person. Now with the work of the disintegration of the defects or cells, the essence goes on growing. It becomes stronger. It goes manifesting itself with more clarity, with more strength. It goes converting into one's soul. As an example, a tree stands on its main roots. The main roots do not nourish, and only keep it standing against the winds and its own weight, so that it does not fall or topple over. The tiny feeder roots are the ones that spread out over the surface of the soil and go absorbing the nutrients to nourish it. Kind of like that. That's how he's described the tree of life, pretty much. You all know about how that goes. The ego does the same within us or within humanity. The thick roots sustaining the tree symbolize the cardinal effects like lust, revenge, anger, pride, and others. The small feeder roots represent the details, those definitive manifestations that are part of the feeders of the cardinal defects. We do not believe those details to be defects at all, and yet they feed the ego. The ego is nourished by all those diminutive details which we have in large quantities. We must begin to psychologically observe ourselves to see the thousands and thousands and thousands of negative details we have, which are the ones that feed the ego. This is what we must do to save ourselves from the disaster. One must begin to remove the tiny feeder roots that nourish that tree. Negative details are bad thoughts, hatred, the envy that one feels against other people, taking or stealing coins and insignificant things, telling lies, saying words full of pride, ambition, and greed. One must begin in earnest to disintegrate all those details deep within us that are so negative. There's another divine spark within us that is called the Divine Mother, whose mission is to disintegrate our defects with a lance that she possesses. No matter how diminutive these details may be, while manifesting, one must ask the inner Divine Mother, "My Mother, remove this defect from me and disintegrate it with your lance." She will do so because that is her mission, to help us so that we can liberate ourselves. In this way, the tree or ego does not grow anymore. It begins to lose its nourishment. It goes withering. What I am teaching here is for you to put it into practice in real life. Wherever you go, whether you are working or whatever you are doing, you must pay attention to your mind, to your heart, and to your sex. Any defect manifests itself through each one of these three centers. When an element manifests itself, regardless of which of those three centers, you must immediately beseech your Divine Mother so that she can proceed to disintegrate it. Through this work, hold on. Let's go back to that verse for a second. He says, your mind, your heart, and your sex. So, what he's saying is, if your mind's telling you to do crazy shit, call the mother and tell her to lance it out. If your heart's saying do some crazy shit, call the mother and tell her to lance it out. And if your lovey section is telling you to do some shit, you sure you want to call her and lance that out? I don't know. But anyway, through the work on the death of the ego that I am pointing out to you here, one acquires scientific chastity and one learns to love humanity, like they do on Venus, like they do on Mars. He who does not work on the disintegration of physiological defects can never achieve chastity, nor can he ever feel love for others, because he does not love himself. That disintegration of the defects and the astral unfolding are the only focus for the rescue. I think that was it. I guess this is one more thing. No, wait, this one says astral unfolding, and he's talking to the reader, whoever's reading it. So this is just stuff he's going to say, and I'm going to say yes. Dear reader, when we speak of the astral, consider if you have dreamed about people who have died years ago. So have you ever dreamed of loved ones or people that you knew passed away years ago? And I have, many a times. I'm sure many of you out there have too. But, okay, about places that people died years ago, about places and people that you do not know physically, at which people comment on ordinary dreams. So yes, I did that before too, about people I never even met in my life, and places I've never been in my life. Sure, people out there have too. He says, last night I dreamt such a thing, but nobody stops to think. Why was I dreaming of other places or locations in my physical body was resting in bed? And that's what he's saying in this section of astral unfolding is, this is when stuff like that happens and you're dreaming, all that crazy stuff like I just said, and not even crazy, just them dreams like I just said. This is the astral plane or fifth dimension. And that's what he's saying that is. To which the astral body belongs, where neither weight nor distance exist. This is a body exactly the same as the physical body. The astral body is energetic. It moves at great velocities like thought, capable of investigating whatever one desires in the universe. In the fifth dimension, we move, investigate, and know what the angels, the Virgin, and all the hierarchies are. The hierarchies move, talk, and teach wisdom that is not written in books. All this is beyond the human mind. When one wants to know, one wants to know by oneself that which people call occultism. You can know it in the fifth dimension, and it stops being occult. What is important is to not leave the physical body with a sleep conscience, but to leave it with awakened conscience, and to move completely at will in the fifth dimension. I am going to give you mantras that I have practiced and that I know give positive results. For you, my dear reader, to put astral unfolding into practice, a mantra is a magical word that allows us to leave the physical body and to return to it with full conscience. So here's the first one. Mantra Lara. Laraz. This mantra is pronounced prolonging the sound of each symbol, like La So you gotta say it like the like rolling the tongue when you say the R part. I can't roll my tongue like that. It's a lie. I'll show it to you guys right up close here. You can take a screenshot of it if you want. I think it was up there long enough. Screenshot it and practice some mantras if you want. I think there's plenty of time. You can rewind it if you need to. That was one of his magical words that he knows that allows us to leave the physical body and return to it with full consciousness, so you don't get lost out in the fifth dimension somewhere and never come back to your body. It just stays breathing, or like in a coma, maybe. I don't know. The next one, another mantra to leave consciously in the astral body is Faran. 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 Faraon, 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 Faraon. So that's how I think it sounds. You guys get that screenshot of that one? Do it. Get it now. Or forever hold your peace. Faraon. So, here's how he's saying to do these now. First, lay down and relax your physical body. Second, pronounce one of those magical words or mantras 3 or 5 times, verbally, and then you continue repeating it mentally. When you feel an electric shock going through all of your body from feet to head, and that you seem to lose strength, your body does not want to move and enters a state of lassitude. Then you must stand up with extreme care. Without shaking yourself, after standing up, do a little jump, and at once you will find yourself floating. How about that? That would be cool. Do not be afraid, surprised, or overjoyed when you see yourself floating in the astral body. All human beings do this, and nothing has happened to them. What happens is that they leave their bodies unconsciously. They do not do things at will. All of us have our divine spirit called Father. Once you see yourself floating in the air, say, "My Father, take me to the Gnostic Church," or wherever you want to go or know, and He will take you there immediately, as quick as a flash. There you will receive the teachings directly from the hierarchies. This is how you go acquiring the true wisdom, which is not written in books, nor is taught in universities or anything else. I hope you practice it every night. I am going to impart another key for awakening conscious in the superior dimensions. So he goes on and he has something here that I'm going to read you guys. That I guess it's going to have me be another thing, a key for awakening conscience. So let's see. Everything that we see here surrounds us, the houses, the people, the cars, have a double in the astral plane. When you want to know where you are, whether you are in a physical or in an astral, look around at the surroundings, the people, the houses, the place, and ask yourself the following question. Why am I seeing such thing? Making it feel strange to you. Ask yourself again, is it that I am in the astral body or am I in the physical body? Then do a little jump with the intention of remaining floating. You do not need to jump very high. You need to lift your body just a few centimeters off of the ground to know if you are in the physical or not. If you do not float, it is because you are in the physical. And if you do float, it is because you are in the astral body. Then upon seeing yourself floating, you must immediately ask your inner father to take you to the Gnostic church or to the place that you wish to know. Do it daily, as often as you can, at work or wherever you may be, and you will see the results. I sustain what I write in this book because I know it. I am sure of what I say because I have investigated it thoroughly with my astral body, which allows me to know everything meticulously. And that is it. That's the end of the book, and he has one final note for you all. I give these formulas here. That's the final, so you guys see. That's the final note from R.M. Rabolú. I give these formulas to the humanity because whoever truly wants to save himself from the cataclysm that is coming must begin at once to disintegrate his physiological ego, all the thousands of defects. You must qualify so that in the moment of a rescue you will be taken to a safe place where no harm will come to you and you can continue working on me, myself, until reaching liberation. The person who qualifies will be the one who succeeds in escaping from the disaster. The divine justice calls this humanity the lost harvest. This is to say that there is nothing else to do. The destruction that is coming is because the gods cannot do anything more for us. Therefore, no one can take the hierarchy by surprise. Everything is planned. Dear reader, I am speaking very clearly so that you understand the necessity to seriously launch yourself to do the inner work, because whoever is working will be taken from the danger. This is not to be theorized or argued. Rather, the formulas that I am giving in this book are teachings you must experiment yourself, so you can go and get the wisdom. There is nothing left to appeal to. I am not a fearmonger. I am a human being who is warning about that which will come. What I say is serious. Whoever has fear of God will begin to work against his defects, which keep us isolated from our inner Father. Although I could go into more detail regarding the esoteric part, I do not want to take up your time. Fight so that each one of us realizes this work that I teach, because it is the path to follow. I do not want anyone to be lost. That's it. That's the end of the book. Then it says, Dear reader, if you are interested in more information, please contact Espanol Burgess. I'm actually gonna contact them, and I will have an update about that. I'm gonna send something to this guy, and I'm gonna have more information on this subject. I'm gonna tell him I have this book already, and I'll send a picture of this page to him. It says for more information, call this number. Whatever. That's it, folks. That was it. And this is what he says at the end. He says, what I affirm in this book is a very short-term prophecy, because I have evidence about the end of the planet. I know it. I am not attempting to frighten, but to forewarn, because I feel sorrow for this poor humanity. Since these events are coming soon, there is no time to waste in illusionary things. So, that's it, folks. Hercolubus Or Red Planet by V.M. Rabolú. That was the read. Finally got it done after 2 parts. Got interrupted yesterday. I could have finished it yesterday. It's a small little book. But, whatever the case, we got it done. It's done today. That's the first book in the series, the new series I'm starting. Storytelling with JayBurghReacts. So, if you guys want to join me next time on the next live, I have no idea what book I'm going to read yet, but I'm thinking maybe like a ghost story or something like that. So I'll try to find a nice ghost story, a shorter ghost story to read, about a half-hour long story or something. And that'll be my next episode. I'm looking for some kind of good. Any suggestions you got, my guys may have, please say them in the comments for next week's show, like a ghost story or something. Or if anyone has a story of their own they want to send in on the comments, hey, I'll read your story. I have no problem with that. I'll read people's ghost stories. It could be like a campfire story kind of thing, you know? Open lines. Any kind of crazy subject, scary, anything like that. You got them ideas? Send them to me. Send them on my one of my posts. That way you can write it as long as you want on that post and not have to have it done in so many words or less. You know what I mean? I'm pretty sure on a post you can keep writing the whole story on a comment, and I'll just copy that and I'll read it. I'll set it up so I can just read it all in one. But you know what I mean. So thank you all for being here on my live. And if you're watching the replay, thank you for being here. Please hit the thumbs up. Please give me some feedback. How you liked the story and what your thoughts are on all of it. This is this guy's true testament. This is not a fiction story. This is what this guy really believes, and he wrote it down. So thank you all for being here now. And that's going to be it for now. So we'll see you all in the next one. This is JayBurghReacts, and I'm out.